Good evening, dear friends. The pre-New Year hustle and bustle can't stop us from meeting, and I can't leave you without a gift this new year. What am I supposed to do? I have to make sure you look absolutely stunning at all New Year's events, morning gatherings, New Year's parties, and various corporate events shouldn't happen without your radiant beauty. That's why my job is to make women, first and foremost, their beauty unforgettable, magnificent, and to prepare men for the tough holidays, to make sure they don't get headaches, and that women don't get headaches either, because ahead of us are still the New Year holidays where we have to get through them together. It's a 2-week marathon of rest, and during this time, besides just lying around and relaxing, it's better to also work on improving your own health, which is what we're going to do together right now. So, friends, today we're going to talk about your neck for women. This will be useful because by improving the condition of your neck, because according to the latest scientific data, it turns out that the neck is the only thing connecting our head to the rest of the body, and the blood supply to your brain and the face, among other things, depends on the condition of the blood vessels that run through our, between what? Between the neck muscles, including the bone structures, for example, inside the transverse processes, the vertebrae, the suboccipital area, and all of this can get compressed. During the New Year's season, what's important for us? We don't even need our brain to work too well. That's not really our main concern right now, although it also depends on blood supply right now. It's important for us to look fresh enough, attractive enough, and for that we need to improve our complexion, improve skin firmness, and reduce puffiness. That's the first effect of all these exercises. The second effect is that chronic headaches also go away because they're often related to impaired venous and lymphatic flow from the entire head area. So friends, what are we going to do together today? By improving the blood supply to the neck itself and consequently indirectly to the head, brain and face. Today we will restore the inflow and outflow of blood, the condition of the neck muscles, and improve the mobility of the neck. The first thing we'll start with is relaxing your muscles, which is what you like the most. We'll start with the suboccipital area. Here in the occipital region, where the skull connects to the neck, there is a group of small suboccipital muscles that are very often tense. And this tension causes spasms. More precisely, this spasm causes compression, squeezing of the blood vessels and nerves located here, and accordingly it also affects the blood flow in and out. Look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our own homemade exercise device. For this, you'll need a ball, which I hope you've already used more than once for massage. And we'll also use something like this. It's an expander which is used like this for training your hands and wrists. But we're not going to use it for its intended purpose. We'll use it as a kind of stand. See, by combining these two items, we get a massager that will work perfectly on your entire suboccipital area. Because if you just put the ball there and try to do what we're about to do,
If you put it under your occiput like this, it won't stay in place, it won't be fixed in one spot, and its height won't be sufficient. But if we look what we're doing, combine these two items together, we get a device that, as you can see, is well stabilized and fixed. And here we can work very well on this entire suboccipital area. Here on top we have larger muscles. First, the most superficial layer is the upper trapezius. And right here there are a lot of painful, tense areas that are in a constant spasm. But if, for example, this spasm becomes a bit stronger than usual, look, see what I'm doing, what's happening. This whole area in the back, right on the bone, practically right here, that's where our muscles are. This is our upper trapezius. It attaches right here, see, to these spots. And it's exactly these places.
Now I'm putting the ball on them. I find the spots where the tension feels stronger, where the pain feels stronger, and I hold the ball there for about 10 seconds. Then I move on to the next point.
And once again, and we repeat it once again, like this. We place it, find the painful area or the tense area, or sometimes when you press on a certain spot, the pain can radiate to another area. This is called irradiation. Why does this happen? Because sometimes a nerve gets pinched in one place, homein. And when the nerve is compressed, this kind of referred pain appears in a completely different area. This happens very often with the neck muscles, including the trapezius muscle. When a nerve gets pinched in this area of the occiput, then the whole head starts to hurt. And on the right and left, you look for all these areas, and you lie like this, work through all of it, massage it very well, and that's how it works. After this procedure, you may notice that your vision becomes clearer because both the inflow and outflow of blood have improved.
The first time you do it, don't go for more than 10 minutes right away, so you don't overdo it. If you've had long-standing spasms, swelling may occur in that area, so the first time you try it, don't do too much at once. So, as you can see, a homemade massager for the new year. This is my gift to you, you can take it. Here you go. And what's special about it? Not only are we learning how to restore each joint and muscle, but we're also paying attention to the biomechanics of movement. What is that? It turns out that many problems arise because we perform the movement itself in a non-optimal way. And our task is not only to make sure that the muscle is not excessively tense, that there are no trigger points, that it works well, that the innervation, the nerve that goes to the muscle, works well, and that the blood vessels passing through the muscle to the muscle itself function properly. It is also necessary to have coordination of movements between this muscle itself, the neighboring muscles, and all parts of the body. Namely, what is there, how to control your balance. For example, you tend to shift your weight to one leg, and when you try to stand on the other, it doesn't work. What is that? Let's figure out the reason. For example, one side of your pelvis is turned forward, the other is turned back. You try to change it, but you can't get into your usual position, and your head is slightly tilted forward. The thing is, you need to control not only your static position. So, you notice the position of your pelvis, for example, it's asymmetric. You try to correct it, but it won't work because this position of the pelvis is formed due to the fact that During movement, one side of your pelvis makes a larger range of motion and the other makes less, or it may even turn out that the pelvis, here it is, can actually rotate while you're walking. With one step, your pelvis rotates to one side, and with the other step, it rotates to the other side. With both steps, the pelvis does the same thing. Of course, it will get fixed in this direction, and over time it will be comfortable for you to turn it that way. The same applies to head movement and many other movements. We are gradually going through all of this together. If you're interested, the links are in the description. We're already starting to work on all of this, and throughout the New Year holidays, you'll have something to do. I'll be waiting for you there at the link in the description. Now, the next stage, the next muscles we have are the group of long extensors. So, what did we just do together? Here we have the head. Here we have the torso.
What we just did, we worked with the suboccipital muscles, which occupy this area, the place of transition, the craniovertebral junction, as it's called, the connection between the skull and the neck, the first vertebra and the occipital bone.
There was a group at one time in the 2010s to 2015s. They called themselves the Atlas adjusters, and their idea wasn't bad. They believed that the first vertebra is very important, but because they were scammers traveling from city to city and trying to massage something here for people, and in doing so, they promised them healing from all possible diseases. The most interesting thing is that even what they did, just massaging this area, already brought relief. You see, even in the hands of a scammer, working on this area brings a positive result. But what will happen if you start doing this with your golden hands? Subscribers, with which you have already, I'm sure, left a few likes, subscribed, and written a couple of nice comments too. That will have 100 times greater effect, much better. So let's move on. The next group of muscles is called the long neck extensors, which also includes several muscles, just like the short ones. So the short ones are a group of muscles. There's a separate video about this. If you're interested, you can check it out as well. Right now we're focusing more on practice, and the long neck extensors are also a group of muscles. What is their function? We can judge their function by their weakness. When they become weak, the head shifts forward significantly. Their main function is to support the position of the head. They also participate in turning, in extension, in movement, in any movements in general. They are involved. They also statically stabilize our neck. All these vertebrae, thanks to them, are held in place, among other things. Instabilities do not develop. And let's also include the upper trapezius here, because all of this is covered by the upper trapezius from above. Very often, weakness of the upper trapezius gradually starts to cause weakness of the long neck extensors. So, again, what do we want first? We want to relax. Why does a person with weak muscles want to relax? Because these weak muscles are constantly getting tired. So imagine, let's say my muscle size is like this, about the size of my thumb, and I need to make an effort. For example, to lift something, well, a certain weight, 10 kilograms. Let's say I lift 10 kilograms and my arm is strong. This is my arm, so to speak. So I lift these 10 kilograms easily. I even toss them up like this, and I don't get tired. And if I don't have to do anything, then even this powerful muscle easily turns my arm. See, in different directions. I'm amazed. Wow, how my arm can move. I'm surprised, happy, having fun, tossing passersby up in the air. because my powerful muscles allow me to do it. But if my muscle is like this, small, thin, frail, like this, how can I show you? Like this, barely moving, it shakes. It shakes just from me trying to lift my arm like this. And what if a little butterfly lands here? Oh, right away a tendon gets pulled or torn. The muscle needs to have a certain volume just to lift the weight of your arm. And if we want to add any extra load, if your muscle here is only as thick as, say, a doubled up trash bag, then don't be surprised if your arm hurts and everything gets inflamed when you try to bend it. Because there needs to be a certain muscle volume. And of course, if the muscle is strong, then from the same movements, that is, if we take two people, for example, here. So we have two people, and here one has this size of biceps. This is the arm, let's say. Here it is. No, let's take one person like this who has a developed muscle on one side, and on the other side it's severely atrophied, right? And we'll give him the same load. Here, we'll give him a dumbbell weighing. It turned out to be 23 kilograms, 23 kilograms. And here we'll also give him the same kind of dumbbell weighing accordingly 23 kilograms. Well, whoever did well in school, who knew physics perfectly, or at least got a B, he already understood that this arm would get tired faster because the muscle volume is smaller, right? And this one would get tired. He already, a day passed, 2 days passed, he should choose to. He didn't even feel that here he had a weight placed on his arm. But this arm of his, right here, everything hurts. It dropped down, he can't feel anything anymore. Accordingly, it's the same with the neck muscles. The head, you have to agree, has a certain weight in society. It also has a certain weight in kilograms, depending on the presence of gold teeth. Or what else could you have in your head? Some people might have a metal plate, maybe titanium somewhere, right? But overall, the weight is about the same for everyone. The weight of the head itself. The brain differs a little in weight. Some have it like this, some like that, but the variations are within, well, at most a kilogram, maybe a few kilograms, right? So basically our heads are all about the same, weigh about the same, but our necks are all different. And let's say the head of an average person, hair, some have more, some have less. Mustaches and beards, I think, don't really make much of a difference either. They don't add that much weight. So the variations are plus or minus 2 kilograms, let's say. And everyone has different necks if you pay attention to the people around you. Some people have a strong neck, muscular, like a cow's or a bull's, for example. And some people have a very thin neck, like a mosquito's or a goose's. Some have a flexible neck, and some almost don't have a neck at all. That is, the shoulders go straight into the chin, like this. Second, third chins, right here. Some people, for example, have a fat wattle here. Some people, for example, have a long, flexible neck. Necks are different, you have to agree. Heads are mostly the same for everyone, generally round, sometimes a bit angular, but overall spherical. But necks are much more varied among people. Still, everyone has the same muscles. And the size of these muscles provides not only mobility, but also stability. You've probably seen Dr. Shishonin's exercise. There's this Dr. Shishonin, a good guy who developed a good exercise. He's done a great job, but he has a lot of exercises, some with music and some even without. He's well liked. They like and respect him because he made a contribution. You can't argue with that. But he pays a lot of attention to mobility. But you also need stability, because the volume of neck muscles decreases. It goes down every year. People have less neck muscle volume. If we take people and measure them, their neck volume becomes smaller. Because we spend more time in this forward position, we lower our heads. We don't look at the stars. We don't look into space like spaceships sailing through the vast seas. When was the last time you observed? Do you look through telescopes? No. You don't even look at the ceiling anymore, only down, only at your phones. And that's why, first of all, well, let's relax. Okay. For this, our Chinese partners have provided us with these kinds of massagers. They manufacture them in large quantities at factories in various shapes. They exist with different modifications. The principle of operation, we put it here on the neck, starting again from the suboccipital area. Here we have two options for action. We can press, hold for a second, 2, 3, then release. Press, hold for a second, 2, 3, then release. Go over the entire neck, and here you will find a kind of groove like this one, which is located at the back, actually not at the back, but in front of the trapezius muscle right here. And with your first press, you'll work on the trapezius itself. Here, you'll find different painful and tense spots, and you'll massage and work them out thoroughly as far as your neck and mobility allow. So, in the first step, you press, hold, relax, press, hold, relax. Hold the pressure for about 1 or 2 seconds. Then, try to get into this groove. The front edge of the trapezius muscle, and here you massage with these kinds of movements as if you're slightly pushing the trapezius muscle itself back. This is the second area. The third is a bit more forward. Here, you'll reach the levator scapulae muscle. It's very important, especially for people who tend to have a sedentary lifestyle. If you spend most of your time sitting, this muscle loses its activity and elasticity. Your arms are always fixed in one position, resting on the table, on armrests, or something else you lean on all the time. This muscle weakens because of that, and then when you start moving your arms, it gets injured. Since it has become weak from prolonged sitting, tears appear there, and then fibrous connective tissue forms in that spot. That's why we'll massage it as well. It would be wrong not to pay attention to it, considering how hard this muscle's life is. And further, right on the sides of the neck is this long-suffering muscle, the levator scapulae. It's tough. This muscle has a hard life because you make it stay in this condition at first. You don't do anything at all. You don't give it any load. And then suddenly, bam, you pick something up. You're carrying something, for example, from the store. You bought New Year's gifts, tangerines. And what you're holding in your hand, all the weight goes onto this muscle. And that's how you massage it. It starts from the first vertebra, right from the transverse processes of the upper four to the angle, right here, of the scapula. It goes like this. Very often, it is constantly tense and at the same time atrophied, overloaded. This often happens because the shoulder shifts forward due to weakness of the upper trapezius and everything hangs on it, everything gets damaged. So, remember what we did together, right? But there are also muscles in the front, right here, on our neck. This is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. After we've massaged the back, what did we achieve? We ensured good venous outflow from You could say the back part of the head, the skull. But what do we need? We need to freshen up our appearance a little. Just a bit, to give the face some firmness and a healthy glow and to reduce swelling. The sternocleidomastoid muscle and the scalene muscles will help us with this. So let's start with the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Here are its outlines. Here is the front part and the back part of this muscle. To start, you take your hand and gently you pull the edge of this muscle, find it and move it sort of forward like this. You separate, you could say, the fascia of this muscle from the surrounding fascia. Move it forward like this, forward, forward, and now move it back gently. Keep in mind the carotid artery is underneath it. Just in case, do this while sitting. If you press it and fall asleep, if you fall asleep standing, you'll fall and hit your head. So sit down so you don't fall from a great height. Don't be afraid, but do it carefully. You shouldn't do this on both sides unless you press on the carotid artery. In any case, if you feel something pulsing under your hands, immediately move your hand away from there. Don't press on your carotid artery. So, here you move the back edge forward, the front edge backward, and move it here. So, what are we doing? We're removing all this fibrousness, making the muscle itself more elastic so that the vessels around this muscle can move freely. Next, move it forward and backward. The muscle itself, like this, move it back, move it forward, just like that. You take it and move it in different directions, right here. Also on one side and on the other side. You can do it together with me, by the way. Why are you just sitting there? If your hands aren't busy with food, put it aside. Wipe them. And then get started. Now, with this motion, from top to bottom, smooth out the back edge of the muscle. The muscle itself, the front edge of the muscle on one side, then on the other, the back edge of the muscle. When you smooth out the back edge, you also touch the scalene muscles a little. The middle part of the muscle, the front part of the muscle. What do we do next? We start massaging. Take the muscle between your fingers like this and squeeze it. And in this way, there might not necessarily be any painful spots here. That is. Trigger points as active as in other muscles are not found in this muscle as often. This muscle is usually thin and weak. It is generally not used much in daily life, and that's why we're going to work it out now, including this one. Enough resting. Now we're going to put all of this under load. So we've worked it out, we've massaged it, the scalene muscles. Now look, here we had the posterior edge of the sternocleidomastoid muscle, and right here the trapezius, the levator scapulae muscles, the ones you've already massaged, basically along the posterior edge of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. If you press behind this muscle and feel something dense, that's exactly the scalene muscle. And here as well, stroke it from top to bottom. There will be an unpleasant sensation. It may radiate to the shoulder or arm because if it's shortened, a group of nerves, a neurovascular bundle that goes to the arm will be compressed there. One of the signs of this muscle being shortened is weakness in the arm and numbness in the hands. So, friends, the relaxation part is over. Well, you can also massage the scalene muscle like this. Just go along it like this. On the other side. So we're working on this side part. If you notice it radiates, for example, into your arm, use a gentler touch,
but do it a bit longer. After that, notice how it feels like your head has straightened up. Why is that? Relaxing this area made it easier for the muscles to work and straighten your head's position. Smooth out the scalene muscle as well, like this. From top to bottom, relax its fascia a bit. Another option is to press directly on the scalene muscle also. Hold the skin and the subcutaneous fascia at the same time, and then turn your head while keeping your fingers in the same spot. Try to hold it. What will this do for you? It will increase your mobility by eliminating adhesions between the fascia. Well, I think we've relaxed enough. It's time to give the muscles a bit of a load. What are they ready for? They're ready to receive fresh blood. What you've just done is relax the muscles, relieve the tension between them, and free up the blood vessels that run through there. Now, those vessels are anticipating bringing fresh blood to your muscles, and the muscles themselves want that too. They're saying, give us blood, we want to feel that fullness again. We can't deny them. If you turn off the television in the room and listen closely, you'll hear their pleas. That's why we can't leave them in this state. Now we have to fill all these muscles with blood. For this, we'll use these exercises. Lie on your side. If you've never done this before, just hold your head in this position statically, looking forward. Statistically, your entire lateral neck is working here. The sternocleidomastoid, the scalene muscles, the muscles that lift the scapula and part of the extensor. If you have experience, try doing it dynamically, raising and lowering your head. You're already loading the muscles dynamically. Look straight ahead, raise it, lower it, do 10 repetitions to start. Then switch to the opposite position. Lie down. Either hold it statically for about 10 seconds or do it dynamically. Or lower your head. You can even slightly touch the surface. Your muscles will stretch a bit. Lift it up, lower it, lift it up. Do it within a comfortable range. Don't go to the extreme points. You don't need to try to hold at the extreme point and tense the muscle more. That's not going to speed up your training process. It will just tire out your muscle. If you try to hold the tension at the extreme point, your muscle will just get tired faster. Why do you need that? You don't? Do it within a comfortable range of motion, but try to avoid the extreme points. Now, the next angle, your nose is facing your elbow crease, so your head is turned a bit this way. The first one was straight, now it's this way. And in this position, you lift, lower, and here you see. It's already a slightly different angle. At a different angle, the muscles start working, the sternocleidomastoid and the neck extensor also get involved in the movement. Also do 5 to 10 repetitions. Turn to the other side, carefully roll over. If you feel dizzy, if you haven't done this exercise statically before, start with the static version, then move on to the dynamic exercises. Also 10 repetitions. Do it carefully. Next position, look up. And the same movement, either just hold it statically or do 10 repetitions, 5 to 10 reps. Lower it, raise it, the position, changed it, looked upward, lowered, raised, focus on the nose. Let the nose be above you, looking down at you. Raise it, lower it, raise it, lower it. There you go. And in general, this set of exercises might be enough for you. You can stick to just these. But if you want to give your muscles here in the front some extra work, if you want to get rid of swelling, for example, on your face, sometimes fluid accumulates here. You need it to drain somewhere. Let it first go into your sternocleidomastoid muscles and then down right here. So a good exercise to train them, the first one is to statically hold your head, the weight of your own head. At the same time, it's a diagnostic way to check the condition of these muscles. If it's hard for you to hold the weight of your head in this position, it means your muscles urgently need regular training, because this is actually their main function, to hold the weight of your head. That's a bit too far. Like this. It's better if you lie down, or it's safer. There you go. Normally, you should be able to hold the weight of your head for about 20 seconds. Here you can work the left muscle separately, the right one, that is the right one separately. When you change the position of your head, don't tilt your head back too much like this. If you've never done this exercise before, you shouldn't do it. So, to start, just begin with this position. Then, gradually, you can add a small range of motion, but don't tilt your head back too much. You can turn your head to one side and then to the other. So, this is a diagnostic method. It's not always possible to find a place where you can hang your head like this. So now I'll show you another way to do it. In case, for example, you don't have that option. You need to take it easy, especially at first. If you haven't done these exercises in a long time, or have never done them at all, you need to adjust the load. Make sure not to overdo it, because sometimes if you do too much, the next day your muscles might start to hurt and you can get those unpleasant referred headaches after the first workouts. That can happen. You just need to get through it. It's just a little swelling that occurs, and realize that you gave yourself too much of a load. Reduce the load or decrease the number of repetitions, or take longer breaks between sets. You generally overwork the muscle. That's a sign. Here's an option for how to do it without hanging. You lift yourself up on your hands like this. At the same time, your abdominal muscles will be engaged. And in this position, you either just hold it statically, or hold it statically to one side and the other. Or you can do twists in this same position. Here, with the twists, don't rush. What's the best way to do it? So, look forward at a 45-degree angle, then forward again, 45 degrees again, forward again, 45 degrees again, forward again, and here as well, 45 forward, 45 forward, 45 forward. Do it 5 times to start, then rest. Or just hold it statically. I'll show you a few exercise options. Well, these are the exercises that train the front part of these muscles, but it's better not to do them together during your first workout. The next type is when you train the right and left sternocleidomastoid muscles separately. Lift it up, then lowered your head to one side, then to the other side. Here you may notice that the muscles on one side are a bit stronger and on the other side a bit weaker over time. But this is really for athletes. You can use your hand to give yourself a little resistance, or you can just place your hand for weight and then move your head toward your elbow. There you go. That's how we train, dear friends. We develop our neck muscles so that your head feels as light as a feather, so that on these strong neck muscles, which will also keep your neck
flexible. You have
Everything is well supported and has good blood supply.
Well, friends, once again, Happy New Year. Don't be shy to write your wishes in the comments. I will definitely read them all. See you in the new year!